Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another installment of the State of FEH Podcast. We are on our 29th episode. I'm your host, DTM, and I'm joined by Oblivion and Joel from Phaeology. As always, how are you two doing this fine evening?
It's a very hectic time of the year, and it's only going to get more hectic with CYL coming up, so
yeah,
very exciting time.
It is indeed.
I'm nervous. We've got a lot of stuff in the next couple of months, and just trying to keep up with it and hoping that it's good. Hoping so much.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so this is the episode that is in the run-up to CYL that will happen next month. And obviously, CYL is always a moment of anticipation and a moment of excitement, and I'm very, very curious to see how things happen when it comes to that.
Yep. Yeah. Who is going to be the brave Tiki of this year?
Wow, you had to put it like that, did you?
I mean, I've never been a person to lie. You just got to tell how it is.
I guess so. But yeah, we can obviously speculate about CYL. Excuse me. We can obviously speculate about CYL, but we do have the past couple of banners that we do need to get to, because there has been quite a few interesting banners, to say the least. Starting with our third Emblem Hero, Emblem Celica. So we went from Marth to Ike to Celica. Are we ping-ponging between the first era and the second era, so to speak, in FEH when it comes to this?
That's weird. It's kind of like with legendaries, right? With legendaries, we had Fjorm and then Gunther, and then all of a sudden Ike just came out of nowhere. So I guess Ike just likes to show up unannounced. He's just what's up, guys? I'm here. Because it will be interesting to see if we get Sigurd next, or if it will be someone else just completely random.
If you look at my defense replays, then definitely Ike just shows out of the blue. That is definitely the case.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the next one will be. I will laugh so hard if it's like Micaiah, and then we'll continue the ping pong. Yeah, I don't even know what she would do. There's definitely a lot of speculations about that. But onto Celica herself, she and her ring introduced a lot of warping, to say the least, both for herself with the Warp Ragnarok, and of course this ring, which is its primary effect. And now I believe all of us here have summoned for Celica.
Right.
Speaking of Celica herself as a unit, what are your impressions of her after a month or so?
Oh man. She's okay. She's good and bad. She's in SD. I really don't like her that much. She just doesn't have the firepower that the top nukes have, and she just cannot kill things. And the thing is, she could snipe off the back liners, but now everyone's just running saves again. They're okay, we have to bring back a save because Celica could just jump in and kill someone. So now you just see Myrrh literally everywhere, and I guess occasionally Amelia and Milo too, but mostly Myrrh. And so it's in this situation where you're well, if I bring Celica and they have a save, I'm kind of in trouble. And if I bring Celica and they don't have a save, it's really good. It's okay, well, I don't know. I'm just, when it comes to SD, I'm not a big fan of her. For Aethery's defense, I think she's absolutely amazing. She's one of the best Aethery's defense units we've had in a very long time. I'm loving her.
You can even use her in offense, and I mean that's not her best position, but she's good enough to be used in offense.
Right.
I mean, just to echo exactly what you said, she's amazing. So you say that she's not good in SD, but the threat of her means that folks are running more saves. Yes. So it's one of those things does she hold value as a unit? Not so much in SD, but as a threat, she absolutely has changed the landscape.
Right, no, definitely. She's it's the example we always bring up with Ninja Corrin, where Ninja Corrin in SD wasn't that great, but her existence made everyone run to magic. All right, it was just okay, you have to do this. I don't know, I'm just not a big fan. Whenever I run into her, I'm okay, you can jump in and kill someone maybe, but I just trade for you. I don't know. typically I don't have a problem with her, but I definitely think she has the potential to be better. Maybe with possible future skills, we get like, I don't know, like Goose Ally 20 or something. I don't know, something like that. And she's just completely broken.
That's actually a really good point. And just talking about the team building in SD, there was a time where if you could take out that one unit, then the other person's team would just collapse. And we're kind of out of that. Like we have so much role compression that it's hard to say that trade is going to be worth it. Like you really want to get a 2-for-1.
Right. So like Celica, when you jump in, like first of all, you have to make sure that she is able to kill either the save or the unit you want to target, which is definitely not a guarantee from my experience as well. And it has to be in a situation where doing that would be favorable for you, and you just don't, just throw your Celica in and just have her like die immediately. There has to be like some sort of plan afterwards to be able to capitalize on that, like taking out a key threat or like the specific unit. And if they have a save, then, well, from my experience at least, Celica doesn't really get through saves or that many tanking units either. I think she would honestly be a lot more powerful if the Warp Ragnarok special, and I know we mentioned this before, but the fact that Warp Ragnarok is based off of her own attack is just really, really damaging to her damage. And especially with all the debuffs and sabotages that are going on right now, like if it was based on her speed, I think it would be a lot better personally.
Definitely. Like there's no question. Like attack scaling true damage and attack scaling specials are just not where it's at right now, unless you're Ike, I guess, because he just gets so much attack. But most situations, not really.
But I like how you mentioned that the threat of her does make it so that you have to keep her in mind when team building, and that is a very interesting dynamic. You mentioned it was like just like Ninjorin back in the day, and yeah, I think that's sort of like it, because like if you run against a person that is prepared, it's probably not going to do too well. But if against someone who's not prepared, then Celica can definitely be a lot more valuable for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used her a little bit. She was a bonus unit, and I didn't even know that. But I didn't really use her that much. But I ran into her a ton, and I just kind of like, okay, go ahead, Celica, jump in. I don't care. I'll just kill you with something else and then go on. Or I just had Myrrh. Like the Myrrh matchup, or the mirror, I don't know how to say it. The Myrrh matchup, it's so slow because we're both just sitting there staring at each other like you kill first, do it. We're just like walking towards each other with our Myrrhs out. Like, oh my god, it took like 15 minutes. And then Celica's just sitting there, and I'm like, Celica, you can't do anything. Like, what are you gonna do? You could warp in and die, like big whoop. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. So. She's interesting. She's definitely interesting, and I think her ring is really good. I absolutely love her ring on Ike. I know, like, Ike didn't need any help, but, like, hey, if you want to give Ike Breath of Life and a Warp Ring, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to love it. So, I've been having a blast.
Well, Celica's good, but if we're talking about her ring, that's a completely different conversation. That ring is very, very good.
Yeah, I've been having so much fun with Celica ring, like, especially on Ether 8's offense with Gale Force, like just putting it on like my AoE Edelgard, putting it on Golvek, putting it on all my Gale Force initiators. Like if you don't have a Gatekeeper, like I mean, you don't need a Smite bot anymore, right? Like you just like warp, and you don't even need Tana anymore. Unless like they have like a block that's blocked off, in which case you probably need Tana to like snipe it. So there's obviously still value there. But that's not most defenses from my experience, and it just makes, I don't know, again, this is like another tool for Gale Force that is in the last in a long line of tools for Gale Force that we've gotten in a while.
It means that legendary male Corrin is even more valuable as fodder.
Oh gosh, legendary male Corrin. I'm excited. I'm excited for Satoshi's short that will hopefully be published soon.
That was like the funniest moment ever. Like I wish I would have been more.
Yeah. But yeah, like obviously with Celica herself, like warp denial is definitely a lot more valuable. It is a little bit lessened by the fact that Myr is already like one of the best saves and units you probably want. So I guess there's already a quote-unquote counter when it comes to something like SDR. But like in Aether 8's defense, like that doesn't activate on turn 1, so you can still do like a turn 1 play with Celica Ring.
Yeah, I mean, I found defense to be pretty good right now. Like I've been using Myr, and there are definitely like some problems with not having the turn 1 teleportation turn off. But if you put your traps correctly and use the correct traps, I found that it works pretty effectively. Because you can't really warp onto like a gravity trap or a bolt trap, right? Like that's gonna go bad for you. So that's definitely something to consider, like where you put those at and like how you use them. Because I think now with that Celica Ring, they're very, very valuable. Like you absolutely need them.
I wonder if this.
So here's a question to you guys. Has IS done a good job balancing warp skills?
No, maybe no. I'd say no, because the reason why is there's not that much anti-warp still available on a large scale, right? Like we have 3 like essentially like real ways to do it, right? You have Myr, who's a limited seasonal save unit, right? She's only had 2 runs so far. She had her original run and her rerun. And then you have High Dragon Wall, which is on a legendary male corn, who is also limited, right? So 2 of the best ways are limited. And then you have Gatekeeper. Now Gatekeeper's not terrible, but I only really like him on Aether 8's offense. I don't really like him on defense, and I don't really like him on SD at all. And so if you're a free-to-play player, you're kind of stuck. Like if you're free-to-play and you didn't want to pull for those things, then you're kind of just stuck in a situation where you have to use Gatekeeper for anti-warping. And with Celica, like, man, that ring just makes warping insane, especially because you can't tell who's going to be warping, right? Like before on team selection screen, you could kind of be like, oh, they have a flyer, there's probably guidance there, or something like that, right? Now it's just like, I don't know who has the Celica ring. Anyone could have the Celica ring. Like we saw Hatari Carla come back, and she's been destroying SD because that warp ring. And like now you're like, okay, who has this ring and where is it? Like I have to like figure it out so I can counter correctly.
I mean, I will say, I think there is a general trend. You probably want the Celica ring when we're talking about SD to be on melee units, not ranged units, because melee units, I mean, people generally run far saves, right? And so by having the warp ring on melee units, then you can like bypass that and still be a really good melee nuke or a melee tank that you can go in and stuff. So that's sort of like is how I personally like try to suss out who has the Celica ring when doing like SDS. And it's interesting because like, I mean, like a lot of the warping you would have liked on like your ranged units, like most saves, I mean, saves are back because of it. And it doesn't have to be Myr, it just has to be like a save that can tank a lot of the nukes with like Breath of Life support and stuff like that. And it's really just the melee threats that you need to worry about. And I think that is the biggest beneficiary of the Celica ring, personally, like melee threats.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like I was saying, like Hatari Carla, Spring, what's her name? Spring Carla, and who is the other person? Even perhaps Eirika I've seen running this warp ring now with the AoEs, and they do a lot of damage. They're scary. Like if you see that, like definitely be suspicious because people are definitely running that now. Even Marth has gotten better, which is cool to see Emblem Marth do some work. But yeah, personally, I just run it on Ike because Ike's my favorite, and I'm not gonna not, right? It's just it's either on Ike or Altina, one of the two. So like, but when it comes to other people, like it's kind of like scary to figure out who exactly it is, unless if it's like a big outlier unit who you can tell, which is good though. Like it adds another aspect of like learning to read your opponent and like the high level mind games in SD.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, the other reason you want a melee unit is you listed exactly 3 ways to counter that, and using a melee unit gets rid of one of those 3.
Exactly.
But I feel like they're close to having this actually balanced, And I think what that means is they're about to just blow it out of the water somehow in CYL.
CYL's gonna ruin everything. It's gonna come out with
Absolutely.
like Alphonse is gonna be the most broken save ever, and then they're gonna release like I don't know, they'll release like Robin, and she's gonna be like the best nuke ever.
You love
and
to
then
see
like
it.
they're just gonna break everything. Everything's gonna be completely broken again, and there'll be no balance.
And then to put the nail in the coffin, Brave Felix will get the Tiki treatment.
Oh
And-
no. Okay. It's okay because it'll be Grima,
Bernie-
so it's fine.
Bernie
Bernie
will be
exists.
the anti-warp weapon, and that's
And
because
ooh.
she's a shut-in and doesn't want people to move around.
Wait, we might be cooking here.
The funniest part is they'll do all this, and then a month after they'll release like Wind, I don't know, Rhea, who just does everything better than everyone again, and we'll be all in the same loop as last year.
Alright, back to your point, Joel. I actually do think it is actually like with the warping versus anti-warping. I actually do think it is pretty balanced, all things considered, because like, for one thing, like you don't actually need to summon for the Celica ring if you want to like reach rank 1 in SDR or SDS. Because of the way how it works, it's only to like the nearest spaces between you and the foe. It's not like you can like warp behind and like attack further back. So you basically turn everyone into like a brave Seliph that can get through walls and stuff, which is definitely very, very strong, but not something that is, you know, that is a gatekeeper for you to reach rank 1. And as you mentioned, there are actually quite a few ways, a lot of meta relevant ways to deal with the warping. And so it's just really, really interesting how it played out, especially in this last SDS, when Celica was a bonus, and you are seeing a bunch of Celicas, and so yeah, it's very interesting.
I think we need one more way. I think so.
I'm
worried that way will be very heavy-handed.
right, it'll be gatekeeper again.
So far, it's been actually. I'm sitting here talking to you guys about this. And I'm like, oh, they actually kind of subtly got this, which is not their MO at all.
No.
So I'm actually kind of happy with the way they dealt with that, which is a scary thing to say.
I mean, I think like when you're talking about SD, yeah, is actually surprisingly well balanced. I think in Ether Eight's offense is kind of broken though, because again, you basically just have Gatekeeper and traps, and there are ways around that. We might come back to the disarm trap format when it comes to initiations. But yeah, for the most part, especially when it comes to SD, I actually pretty like the state of it right now, all things considered.
I think it's fine.
I don't know if you guys have realized this, but like it's actually been gaining in popularity, like the number of people playing.
Oh, no, I did not notice that. I think it's easier than ever to hit rank 1 right now. Like it's like not ridiculously easy, because I don't want to make it mad. Like, it's way easier. Like compared to like the first like couple months, like when we were in that grind for rank 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 20 times easier. Like it's really, really easier. I think that's good, right? Like we want to open up SD to more people, and so I think making it more approachable is good. The thing I want is just anti-gatekeeping. Like literally, I just want people, like if you are rank 1 and you lose a match, I think you should lose 3 times the points. That's what I think personally.
I mean, that's how originally it was until they changed it, and I'm not entirely sure what happened to make them change it, but yeah, this is what
yes,
we have
the dev
now.
was like, I want to keep playing, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, like as you mentioned, it's definitely far from the early days of SD, especially considering that if you are in Masters, it's only like 8 or 9 wins versus back then when you like grinded from 1,000 to 7,300, which I think you did, Joel, if I remember correctly.
It was a very, very long day.
Like 20 matches a day, every day, and you're like, please, like I just want to stop.
But yeah. Something that we also came with Celica was Resonance, that is in her B skill. I haven't seen too much of that being put in use, but I have heard that on certain units it's actually really, really strong. And I'm curious if you've seen any instances of Resonance that surprised you or impressed you.
Okay, I'm I'm probably gonna get stuff thrown at me for this. I don't think it's that strong.
Same.
I think, and I've looked at it a ton. I even like I managed to get an extra Celica, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna give resonance to my Sonya, and I'm gonna be able to give it to everyone. And I started doing sims with it, and it is better than Occultist Strike, but not as much as the cost is, if you get my drift. Like it's not significantly better. But sometimes, I mean, to other people's point, sometimes you just need like 3 more damage and that would get you there. But I think for the most part, most units don't just absolutely need it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's cool that like it gives DR piercing options to units who can't get it any other way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's always nice, but I don't really like it all that much. I don't know why. It just feels kind of like almost clunky to use sometimes. Maybe it's because there's an HP condition on it, but like I'm not a big fan. And like the HP condition isn't very consistent either, because it's based off like max HP, but with no mythic buffs, like minus 20. I don't remember. That's like something off the top of my head. Let me see. Yeah, max HP before entering battle minus 20, right? And so like a lot of times it depends on like, do you have a way to get your HP back? Because like this will slowly drain you, which also like affects your ability to pierce DR, and then how much true damage you're getting. Like, I don't know. Like I've just, other than on Celica, I don't really enjoy it all that much. And I like, maybe it's because I'm high off of Lagoo's friend still, but like coming from that skill to this skill, I'm like, dang, this is disappointing. Like,
I think we all thought that this was going to be Lagoo's friend for, mage ranged units, and
right.
It is not.
It's far from that. Yeah, it's very far from that.
It is, to your point, like for calves, like I've heard on Rearmed Reinhardt, it's actually really good.
Right.
That may just have come up because I put Reinhardt in my top 5 worst, and folks were trying to have some copium there. But I mean, it just makes sense that it would be good on him.
I just find it really funny that Rearmed Reinhardt's Octo kits never use his actual like rearmed weapon. It's always like Arcane Euphoria or Magic Lantern. Although I will say I have heard that Rearmed Reinhardt is one of the better users of Resonance, and he actually packs a lot of punch with like that and Euphoria. You get like 30 true damage Braves off, which sounds pretty spicy, honestly. I heard Sather, New Year Sather is also a really good user of that. Honestly, those are the 2 main ones I've heard.
I've seen people try to run it on Golveg, and I'm not sure how well that worked, but it didn't seem that great. But yeah, definitely Reinhardt. I mean, the thing about Reinhardt is like you switch his weapon to the other arcane weapon, and then you have like 3 sources of true damage, right? So 3 sources of true damage plus a brave weapon, and you're fast enough to quad, and you can now pierce DR. You're gonna do some good damage.
Right.
It's a flex on Golveg. Honestly, I looked extensively on Golveg because I actually ended up with one, and I love that unit. That DTM, if ever one falls into your lap, you will also love that unit. It is a DTM unit all the way through. But it's Occultist Strike is not as good, but it's just barely worse.
I will say,
cool for her.
We're talking about Summer Golveg, right? Or are we talking about
Summer Golveg?
I assume so.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I will say, Resonance, since it does like the self damage, it can help with like getting into LOM range and stuff. So I sort of like it for that on Summer Golveg. But yeah, like I think for a lot of units, like Resonance isn't that big of an upgrade to justify. It's only on like certain units where it really, really shines, which is a lot different from a skill like Lagoo's 4, where pretty much every infantry tank-ish unit really appreciates that skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think we're gonna talk about Golveg later, but I don't know about that unit. Like I don't have her, right? I didn't pull in my banner. I had self-control for once, but anytime I ran into her, she's like so underwhelming. She just dies to everything, and I'm like, okay, like she just doesn't kill anything. So I don't know if that's just like my experience is just limited still, or if like she's actually just not that great. But,
are we on Summer Golveg? Is that?
We did Summer Golveg last.
That last
episode? Yeah.
Oh, Okay, I'll say a real quick thing on
Yeah.
Summer Golveg. She is good in one place, and that's Aetherite's offense. And
That's my favorite.
it's exactly what we talked about. Like it's a win more unit. Like
Right.
you've probably already got a unit that you're winning with on Aetherite's offense, but she is so much fun.
The only person who is beating my defense this week actually was using Winter Edelgard, Sharena, and Summer Golvig. And I was like, okay, well, how am I supposed to stop that? There's so many actions.
That is like 10 actions from just those 3 units. And if like they had like Asker with Gale Force, that's another 2. If they had
They barely won. They ran out of actions at the end. Like that was it. Like I was like, oh my god. Because they had to get
So
through all
close.
the stuff that was in front of them. Yeah.
Right.
And then they had to hit Ike. They had to keep hitting Ike. They're hit Ike, hit Ike. I'm like, okay.
But the fact that you can brute force it with the
Yes.
number of
Yes.
actions you get, I mean, that's the kind of craziness we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, like with Celica Ring, with Summer Golveg, again, like Gale Force has gotten a lot of tools this year specifically. And I'm very curious of their motivation for that because, like, again, Gale Force is not the most popular strategy, even to this day, despite all like the tools that are available in the general like player base. And so I have seen Gale Force starting to become more and more popular a bit.
Uh-huh.
Although that sort of thing is really hard to tell, obviously. But hey, like making Gale Force more accessible is always a
Right.
win in my books. Like I always like it when like player face strats are sort of incentivized in that manner. It's because I do find it really, really fun personally.
There's a
Yeah,
certain level of addiction that I think someone has reached once they start using Gale Force. Like, you know what I mean? That there's, I can tell, like Tactic and the Discord just recently in the past couple months started using it, and I mean, there's a kind of a frenzy that takes over you. So I think it's a good thing for the game. I think it's another fun thing you can do, and I like that they're trying to make Aetherite's offense more than just end turning. But my defenses do not like that. So
Yes. Oh my gosh, I keep losing to like disarm trap 4 Kagros and just random units. It's just like, oh my goodness, it's rough out here. And then all the Ikes show up and just like tank everything. It's like, great. Now what do I do? Yeah, the rank 1 will never be in sight. I'm sorry, folks. It's not happening.
Copy my defense. You can do it. My defense is like literally, I think I've won like rank 1 like 7 weeks in a row or something like that. Just copy my defense.
Oblivion, you have a +10 Ike.
I don't think that Ike usually isn't the one stopping them though. Like Ike is like the last, the last thing to stop people. Usually it's because I have so many counters that they don't have enough like supports to stop all the counters, right? Like you have the AoEs, you have the Hush Spectrums, you have Fatal Smokes, right? Like all the things that like shut down Ike layered over and over again, and then people just can't handle it. They're like, okay.
I know it doesn't show up on video, but I promise you it changes the team selection that people have. It really it limits what you can use.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, we'll see when the next opportunity comes up for me. I'll probably start running Celica on my defense too.
Yes.
Since you've been mentioning that a lot to me. I'm very curious. It's probably going to be better than Micaiah at the very least. So, Summer Micaiah, by the way, not Attuned Micaiah.
way better than Summer Micaiah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Celica, as we mentioned, is interesting unit. Her ring's really, really fun and powerful, especially on Aetherite's offense. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things develop from there when it comes to like the warping and stuff. So how's that box, Oblivion? I know the summer banner has been really rough.
I'm moving actually to a different box right now. It's taking a lot of time and money. It's an expensive box.
Right. I did say Summer Petra was happening, right?
I mean, I was hoping it wasn't going to happen, but also hoping at the same time, it's a weird feeling to have. But Yeah, I didn't go hard on her though. I only spent like 300 orbs. It was very contained.
Only, yep. Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot.
Okay. Here's how we'll know that IS is really looking at your bingo card. And that's if you don't actually get a bingo until the last banner in December.
Oh gosh.
And if that happens, then we know they were looking. Like there's the way you're going, it's like that would be impossible unless they planned it.
We're going to have like legendary Zephyl as the last legendary of 2024.
Oh my gosh. That would be, I'd be so down for that. Oh my, I'd be actually so happy. He hasn't gotten any love in such a long time. FE6 doesn't get a lot of love, like in particular. So,
yeah. I mean, since you summoned for Summer Petra, how is she as a unit? I know that personally I wasn't really that high on her, but I think she's still like decent or something, right?
She's good. She's definitely good. Like she's not up there with like the crazy units, but I think she's like a step below them. Like she like works really well. I've gotten her to kill my +10 Ike with no support.
All right.
So that's, I mean, she can definitely do things. It's just like, the problem is that you want desperation on non-Ike matchups, and then on Ike matchups you want true damage, right? You want Assassin Strike. So it's kind of hard to get her like in the right spot you want her at. And then her own warping is good. It's definitely good, but like it's less valuable when everybody else has warping too. So there's that. I think she's just solid. Like you'll definitely see her a bit, but you'll never see her as like that unit who's gonna show up all the time destroying things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine with me. Like I'm glad she has a PRF.
Right. Yeah. Unlike certain other red Summer Three Houses units, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that is similar to my assessment. Like she's good, but nothing too crazy that we've seen. And yeah, it is unfortunate that the warping is less valuable with all the soaring guidance, even like not even just Celica Ring, but like soaring guidance and attuned Micaiahs and all of that sort of stuff.
Right.
Warping is like really, really not a unique thing really these days.
Yeah, it's very prevalent. Yeah.
We did also get Summer Eirika though, which personally was my favorite of the batch because the art and animations was actually so good. It is a little bit unfortunate that it is very similar to the previous female Eirika's, but she has this interesting bonded status that I don't know. I just still find that very, very interesting as like a mechanic.
I think they're just future-proofing to make their life easier later, right? Like they're like, hey, if we make this status, then later on in the future, we don't have to code as much. We can just direct the code towards this bonded effect, and we're good. That's what I think, at least. I don't think it's like anything crazy. I just think it's like them making their lives easier, or maybe making things easier to understand. That'd be nice, right? That's a good thing to do. That's what I think about. When it comes to her, like Eirika herself, I'm really not a big fan. I think her art's cute. Like I don't have a problem with that. But like the fact that the past 3 Eirikas we've gotten are all dragon, brave attacking Omni tanks. All right, like they're dragon stones. Really is lame to me. It's like really, like they're all the same design. They have small changes between each of them, but like they're pretty much the same unit in a lot of ways. And the fact that she's a colorless one too, right? Like we literally just got Amelia who's colorless. You could have done like red or blue at least, but they didn't do that. So I haven't really been impressed by her. Like I don't know. I haven't seen her do anything insane yet, personally.
I mean, she's really good, but Ike is transcendent. Like, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough bar to compare to. But yeah. I think they should have made her a dagger unit, and her weapon could be spiking the Sami ball against people, and that's what they should have done.
That would have been cool.
That would be cool.
Stuff like that. I just want something unique. You know what I mean? I think that would be cool.
I will say I really do appreciate the Sami ball though in the art. That was
amazing. Well, you nailed it. I mean, the art is fantastic.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, as you mentioned, like I also haven't really seen. Honestly, I haven't seen her in general that much when it comes to like the general meta. I think I've encountered her like once in favor. I actually forget what the outcome of that match was, but I think I was just like testing teams at that time. But like, yeah, she wasn't really that special when it comes to like Omni tanking, because we have gotten a lot of Omni tanks, right? Like you mentioned, we had Ike, we have legendary male Alir even, and even more that we'll talk about later. And so like in order to actually like stand out and be, you know, something that people look at you and decide, you know, you're worth polling for, you need to have like that it factor, which unfortunately, again, maybe if they do something in the future with Bonded, like add skills that, you know, you gain more effects if you have like this Bonded effect, we could see like that happening. But as it stands right now, I don't think that is the case.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny that like the Omni tank strat, it's just like last year where like we got a million Omni tanks at the beginning of the year. And then, like, the end of the year was all just, like, hard nukes that just destroyed all the Omni tanks from earlier. So I kind of expect that to happen again. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, even Res Wave, which I believe she did come with, is pretty interesting, giving Scowl on a C skill.
I thought it was not Dragon exclusive, and I was so happy. And then it was like, only for Dragons. Oh, I was like,
I had an inkling when it was even Res Wave D specifically. I was like, that D is probably Dragon. It's probably Dragon exclusive, rip. Yeah. Yeah. Dragons continue to get nice things, I guess.
Where's the beast love?
Beasts are like I love all my children equally, but it's not them. It's you, dragons. That meme.
Yeah, it's like the meme where the kid's drowning in the pool, right?
Yeah.
Literally beast.
Yeah. Gold Mary is interesting though as a unit. Like, I have actually seen her a bit in even like Summer's duels. Have you been encountering her? And I guess her and Bernadetta as well. The Chihuahua next to her. As I see. That's not me. That's like other people saying that. Okay, that was not me.
Like Bernadetta's there, I guess. Like, oh man. I ran into her the first, not this SDS season, but the last SD season. The only map I lost was because of Gold Mary. It wasn't because of Gold Mary. She was there. She literally did nothing. She just stood in the corner, and the rest of the team did everything, and she just sat there and applied debuffs. And I was like, okay, I guess this works. Like.
So she didn't do nothing. Like that's
right. But she was not the all-star of the team, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Gold Mary's interesting. Like, invested well, obviously, like you can make her into a very, very strong nuke, and like the debuff support, as you mentioned, is pretty nice to have like that sort of like role consolidation. But she's definitely not among like the top echelons of the Omni tanks. In my personal opinion, at least from what I've seen so far. I know I said this despite me losing to 2 Gold Mary teams in my last SDR team. But
here's the thing, and that's I can't figure out if people are using her because she's good or they're using her because she's Gold Mary.
Yeah,
and that's there because there are a couple. I was going through the rank 1 teams just today, and even looking at the teams for this next season, there are a couple Gold Marys being used, and it's fascinating. The idea is neat, and we have seen a role for melee frontliners on defense, but like looking at that role, I can't help but look at that and say, yeah, but you could be using Ike. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? So I definitely think she's good. I definitely think she's usable, but I haven't seen a convincing argument to just, you know, get off my seat and actually grab her. That sounded terrible. Actually, sounded her, so that's
Jeez,
okay. That's better.
I was on Reddit and I saw the funniest thing ever. Like, they're like, I thought of the most amazing strategy ever. I'm gonna hit rank 1 with it in SD. They're like, I'm gonna use 5 Gold Marys and they're gonna have 5 debuffs and no one's gonna be able to do any damage. And then the first comment was, you can't run the same unit in SD on the same team. And everyone was just laughing at that. It was great. I was like at work and I was like, this is the best thing I have right now.
Is this a segue to like to Shadow having a 7 gold Mary team on defense? Maybe that's her true calling on either its defense on those meme teams. I mean, I've seen some people use Summer Gold Mary for sure. But yeah, I think she's more of like a niche option rather than a standard or meta pick that people would use in something like Summer's Duels. Personally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel like too.
If she's your favorite, I think you can work her in. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Omni Tanks, we're continuing on the Omni Tank train, I guess. 3 Omni Tanks in a row. We have the Sacred Stones banner, and we have another Omni Tank in the form of Attuned Eirika. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, every time I ran into Ascendant Eirika, I have not been impressed, like, at all. Like, is that the same impression, or am I just like missing something, or am I just like secretly decked out against her or something?
I mean, she's a Vantage unit. Like, in situations, she's going to be absolutely phenomenal, and unless you put her in that exact situation, she isn't going to be. That's Vantage. I mean, I think she's. I love that she's different. Let me say that. Right. I feel like we've gotten a lot of the same. I mean, we talked about it, all the Allirs. Like, we got the same Omni Tank over and over and over again, and this is different. So, hats off to IS for actually trying something here. I like the unit, but I don't know that she's tip top of the meta by any stretch of the imagination.
I ran into one Eirika. I forgot she had Vantage because I killed her with Ike. So
right, forced desperation.
Vantage doesn't matter when Ike already puts it on you.
I think what was happening was that I forgot she had Vantage too, and it was just because like my Robin just outsped with the Grand Unity from Legendary Robin, and so I was just outspeeding. And with the Dole from Lucina, and so yeah, I think that was what happened because I was like, I thought there was something special about her. What's going on? So yeah, yeah.
I think PM1 said it best, and that they should have tied her Vantage to something else. Like I don't really like the way they did that, but I think all of us, including PM1, said the exact same thing about her, and it's. She's good, but Vantage tends to fall off quickly.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I've always felt this, but Vantage has never been felt that consistent because, especially speed-based Vantage and like
Youngin DTM. I wasn't there during the golden days.
I wasn't there. Yes, that is true. So I don't know. Like, apparently Kronia was really, really good back then. Sounds wild to me. But yeah, like it just takes like one Hardy Bearing unit or one like sweep unit or one I mean, I guess like she does have the Nilsi Echo, but like even still it just takes like a unit that's bulky enough to survive to just like kind of ruin that niche personally. So like yeah, I've never been fond of Vantage personally, but I won't deny that it is pretty fun in the right circumstances.
I'm apparently just trying to make people angry today. But here's the thing about Vantage. It's when it works, it is so wildly satisfying. And so you'll lose 3 matches, but you'll remember that one that it worked because it was so cool.
Yes.
I just love Vantage, so I will always defend Vantage. It's the best strategy ever, other than the other strategies.
You only say that because Altina is a Vantage unit. Like, I'm pretty sure that's 100% the reason.
I also used Vantage to get to like Vault to Heaven and like hit like rank 6, I think it was, or Ether Raids back in the day. Like, Vantage was the strat. That was what you used.
I'm with you.
I
love Vantage.
Yeah,
but it's not an every map kind of thing. Like, it's really difficult to use it on every map, and I think it did back in the day with Kronia and Duo Hector. But,
right.
I was never a Kronia fan. I used Jafar, and then I realized he had no attack and made everything more difficult, so I went to Blade Tome.
Nice.
And then the lulls came out and just absolutely destroyed that. Oh, that killed me. Oh, you have sent me back there. I got just a little bit tilted there.
The PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, there's not just Eirika, the unit. We also have a couple of new skills, including the Null C Disrupt Echo, which is interesting. I haven't really seen a lot of it, though, personally. And I think that just comes down to the fact that we've talked about with a lot of these Echo skills. It would have been great if you can use it on a unit with their like perf skills. And so for a lot of the go ahead.
Or even don't make it infantry locked. Like that would have been really interesting because remember you can't use it with preference weapons. So suddenly things get really interesting when you start talking about something like that.
Yeah, like imagine this on like I don't know, Brave Byleth, counting her refine that's upcoming. Like that could have like been really, really good. But yeah, like as you mentioned, it's just like a lot of Echo skills. There's just a lot of limited uses for this No Seat Echo. Like obviously, it's a really, really good for your favorite Omni tank that you've been building up, and obviously, like for your favorites, it's perfectly fine. But like as a skill, you would summon for competitive reasons. Like it's just not worth, in my opinion.
I think you nailed it. I'm going to tell on myself here just a little bit. It's been a really, really busy month and it had a lot of IRL stuff going on. But this banner hits and I'm talking to Ilya in the Discord about this. And I'm like, Ilya, I don't understand. This is Null C Disrupt E. What does the E stand for? Joel, come on, man, you're smarter than this. It's just Echo. I'm like, oh god.
That's too good. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way as DTM. Like, oh my god, like I love that Nephany got a new toy. That's great, but man, if this was inheritable to other units, this would literally fix all of Altina's problems. All the Altina's problems.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I've been waiting for NCD on Mythic Altina for years, and then even Desperate Altina would love to not run that NRB slot if possible, right?
Right.
So, like, I get it, because but like, you know, you don't want to make everyone pool all the time for new Echo skills, and like, good for you for doing that, but at the same time, man, I really want those skills on my favorite units.
Yeah. I think like IS made the decision that in the long run both made them less money and also made people more angry. So it was kind of like a lose-lose decision there.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like I remember like when Echo skills were first released, like we were talking, oh, these won't really matter, like because like it's like, and I remember like actually being happy that it was limited to not like affect things too much. But honestly, now I'm just like, you know what, just bring it on. Like, let's have some fun.
The thing is like, you know, they're gonna learn that lesson like a year or two from now when they like actually grow a brain, and then they're gonna just release some new kind of Echo skill where it's like, I don't know, Ultra Echo. Like you can now have anybody can have it, right? Like whenever they're desperate for money, it'll come up. Like maybe it'll be even later this year, right? Because like they've been introducing a new unit type every year. Like we had Rearmed and Attuned. Maybe this year it's Super Attuned. Who knows?
Echo skills to Electric Boogaloo.
Right.
We get a Z skill.
Oh gosh, we're going into Pokemon.
Oh geez. Okay. Anyways, yeah, a little bit of a shame for that because obviously a lot of units would really, really appreciate that. Gust as a special, I think is really, really interesting, but I don't think really is like that big. It's like godlike reflexes, but like armor beacon, I guess. But speed and infantries.
I'm not a big fan. What about you, Joel? Because I know like you're really into like trying this stuff out. So have you had like any situations where you found it better than like godlike reflexes or like by a notable margin?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think that
I want to give you a different answer. I really do. I mean, it's it's like resonance, right?
Right.
There are cases where it can be really good. I'm sure there's some units out there that it's just amazing on, but I don't know. Omni tanks are so one-dimensional now. I mean, do you have Ike? Check yes and use that unit. I mean, yeah, possibly. I mean, I've seen some interesting things with Sita, with Attuned Sita, because she can use the Attune skill, and you put Gust on her, and she has all of the Unity effects and everything else, and she's already pretty good, so she didn't need a lot of help to get her boosted up. But I've heard some inklings of her, but I haven't really dug into it in The Sims yet.
Yeah. I just find it weird because like it's this new Omni tank skill, but it doesn't have DR piercing. And so because it doesn't have DR piercing, it makes it really awkward. Like it's just well, I love to run this Lagoose friend builds, but if they have slaying, I can't do it. You know what I mean? And most units have slaying nowadays.
And yeah, that's like the biggest issue. The fact that it is a damaging special, and therefore you actually need to meet that like cooldown condition as opposed to a defensive special like Godlike Reflexes, means that the anti-synergy with Slaying and Lagoose Friends 4 makes it very, very limited in the places where you would actually like to run Gust as opposed to like Godlike Reflexes. And so, if it had like damage reduction piercing, then you don't need Godlike Reflexes to get through that. So you could like probably run something different, but as it stands, it's there, I guess, for the few units that do appreciate it, like Sita, as you mentioned.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, of course, this is finally the end of the Omni Tank train. I feel like we've been talking about Omni Tank for like 4 minutes now or something. But to keep in line with like tanking in a sense, we did get a new save tank Ascended Amelia. All these exclamation points is messing me up. Our first speedy save in a while, I want to say. Like, when was our last speedy save? I can't remember.
Anonkos?
I want to say Anonkos was just like literally last year. And so,
oh no, Brave Corn. Brave Corn.
Oh yeah, Brave Corn.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it was Brave Corn. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I've heard inklings that Amelia is actually really, really cracked, especially in something like Summer's Duels. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to encounter her in my run, but did any of y'all encounter her during yours?
I used her. But I'm gonna be completely honest. She was on the Cav line team, and she was there to die. She was there to die and to provide defense and res buffs to Nurgle. Nurgle put the work in. She just sat there. So I don't know if she actually was good, but no one attacked into her because everyone just died, and then Nurgle killed him. And I was like, okay, Amelia, you did your job. You had Pathfinder on you, so I don't really know.
I mean, what are the check boxes for saves right now? Like, you can be a near save if you survive Winter Edelgard. For a far save, it's if you can survive one attack, you're amazing. Or if you have something else good about you, like Myrrh has roll compression and that she can help you with warping. I'm looking at her and I'd probably rather have Myrrh and Byleth. And most people already have them built up. Like, is she better than them? I mean, she may perform better. It's possible, but it's in the saves are just very, very low right now. It's not exactly their high point, and I kind of like it that way.
I mean, I've definitely heard that she's really good too. But I don't have any personal experience. I never ran into Amelia that gave me a problem.
Right.
The thing was like the fact that she's like so focused on bonuses was like my biggest problem with her.
Yeah,
because there's so many ways to remove those. Mm-hmm. But the idea of having a really speedy save who also has the speed condition, the frozen, like the half frozen condition as well, like is really cool. I just really wish it wasn't tied to her bonuses. Like, I wish all the bonus stuff was removed and it was just like, hey, your HP's granted 25%, you get this encounter, like, you know, like something like that. Because I just don't find it all that reliable. But the thing is, for me, the biggest thing is, like, right now, like Joel was saying, saves are so weak that the only thing I really care about when it comes to my teams is, like, okay, can you die and protect the rest of my team? Check. Any save can do that. And then 2, do you provide anti-warping? Okay, you're Myr. Awesome. You're the best save. That's all I mean, that's where I'm at least.
Yeah. And I do think Myr is still the best save because of that role compression and the fact that she is genuinely good at tanking stuff. I don't know, Winter Violet, like I think we've had like so many answers to him these days in like Ivy, Robin, and like that. I feel like he's been falling off even with the utility of the dual skill. So personally, I think I might put Amelia above Violet. I personally don't have any experience with Amelia myself, but I have like watched things and she can definitely survive a bit. But
I keep seeing Byleth come back. And I keep on thinking like, okay, he's past his prime now. We're fine. And then that NCD in his weapon is just really good.
I was making my teams and like I had to choose what my save was, and I had Byleth originally, and then I was like, you know what? Amelia gives defense and rest buffs, so I'm gonna use her. So, because I don't know, like personally, whenever I run to Byleth, he just dies. Like I haven't had a situation where I can't kill Byleth in a very long time. So I don't know if that's just because I'm not running into Satachi's Byleth, but like typically the Byleths I run into just kind of explode.
Right. I mean, I think Byleth just in general has like a lot of weaknesses. Like there's the AoE unless you hit the dual button, which you can do, but it means you can't like use any other dual buttons during that turn. There's like a lot of blue nukes these days, like Robin, even Ivy, like I mentioned. Celica on a good day can do it, although you probably like have to work it a bit. Look, Celica's doing her best, okay? Maybe my Celica was just minus attack, which is why she failed to kill. Maybe that was the reason.
No, mine failed to kill a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I didn't use her.
Okay. All right, scratch the Celica then. But like, yeah, it's just... I don't know. Byleth has like a lot of weaknesses, I feel, and
yeah, but I feel like I feel like saves right now. You generally, I mean I'm overgeneralizing, but in SD you have 2 nukes, and you normally have them be complementary, and between the 2 of them, you're probably going to be able to take on any save out there. And so, I mean, just the existence of the dual button itself is nice. But I haven't done sims on her yet, so that's maybe she's just amazing. But there are some nice things about Byleth that you can't get in the combination. You can't get in other saves. The dual button, NCD, he gets piercing. There's a lot of really cool things.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, like. I think Byleth is still like good, probably like number 3 at least, if not like 2, or if we're going to do like rankings. But as you mentioned,
he's
like
2 or 3.
Yeah, saves. You'd like to have some other utility other than just like taking a hit in these days, and so yeah, it's kind of a rough spot to be as a generic save, unless you have something special like Future Vision or something like that.
Oh my! I was waiting for it. I was like, "Where is the monthly Lucina like propaganda?"
It's good. Like I know folks at the competitive server refuse to rank Valentine's Lucina, but I will still stand by her. Valentine's Lucina is still a really, really good save. I still reach rank 1. Legitimately, I might add you this last SDS, and so yeah, like it will be 2025. Like Don't Hurt Me says, and I'll still be running my Valentine's Lucina catball team. Man. Mark my words.
It's fine because like whenever I look at their tier list, I just go, okay, there's Nagi. So Nagi is just whatever your favorite unit is, you just put there. Like, and that's how I justify anything. So I'm good.
Yeah, if you close your eyes, that is actually Valentine's Lucina.
Right, exactly.
So, you know, yeah.
Or like Fallen Leon, whoever I'm imagining today, they go right there.
Well, let's address something real quick here, and that's. You mentioned that Byleth is probably number 2 or 3. Part of the reason that is, though, is because so we've gotten so few armors and like viable far saves. We have Corrin, Byleth, Myr, and I mean,
I guess now Amelia.
Yeah, and that's maybe Zelgius. Like I've seen Zelgius do some fun things.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a big Zelgius fan. Yeah. I'm a big Zelgius fan, but the second Leon came out, Zelgius died. I'm gonna be real with you. Like it was not good.
But that's it. Like that's all we've gotten. So
that is true. Actually, yeah. Like unlike Omnispace, we haven't actually gotten a lot of armors, and so I guess it makes sense that we haven't seen a lot of them these days.
They've been really stingy.
I mean,
maybe they finally heard our criticism, like it saves our.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say.
Hey, like I said, I like the balance. I prefer it this way.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. And yeah, we have like one final unit on the banner. If I remember correctly, we have the Nido-King himself, Niðavellir. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Where did that meme come from? I've seen it everywhere now. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like,
I don't know actually. I think it was from because I heard of it from the competitive server. So like,
okay.
That's where I found it.
Yeah, I saw people like Nido-King. I'm like, I love Nido-King. Who's Nido-King? And then no one answered my question. I had to figure it out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was the same when like Mass was telling me to not run Breath of Life on Maria because everyone was running seafood, and I was like, seafood? Is that like a seasonal weapon or something? And no, it was just seafood.
Good old Fae players.
Yeah. But yeah, Niðavellir is actually really, really interesting, giving pulse support as a range cav, which is actually slotting in really, really well to a lot of the cav line teams. I've definitely seen a lot of folks use that for sure.
I mean, he's really good. Like you pretty much have like almost Fallen Ursula, but then you have support as well. Like and he charges his by 3 for 3 or 4 turns. Like, I mean, he's just a really, really good unit. Like the only thing it's not even holding him back. Like the thing that we can like complain about, I guess, is that he doesn't have a PRF skill, right? That's like pretty much it.
Right.
Everything else is like, hey, this unit's great. If it wasn't for Brave Felix, I would definitely have gotten harder on that banner to get him. But like, I just am doing my best not to spend orbs, which is not going well, but it's better than usual.
No, I think he's the best unit on the banner.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, not even close.
I like him a lot. I again, this is a unit that I wasn't able to summon on the banner yet, but I am. This is the one that I would like to get with my tickets because again, there's just so much to summon for. But I need a strong cav, and I think he's one of the best right now.
Yeah, because like beforehand, I've known like a lot of cav teams, they would run like something like Asker to try to charge their specials and AoEs. Now, even though like that was good, obviously like Asker not being cav sort of like limited the rushdown that you could have done. But now like with Niðavellir, you can have that and still have a lot more aggression. And since he has like the Kanto distance, you can act in a similar vein to Yunaka, where after all the Kanto control units are gone, you can just go in and snipe them one by one. And yeah, like I think I agree. Like Niðavellir is just like really, really strong. I don't think he's like meta shifting because, as I mentioned, like you could sort of like done similar things before with like Asker with the charging on stuff, but like he's definitely very easy to slot into these cav line teams, and definitely like recommended if you are able to.
Stop making me want to pull DTM. Jeez.
I'm just explaining, you know. It's like you don't have to pull based on what I say. Unless, you know, I'm just such a persuasive and high top tier player that my word is God, right?
Right. This is like when I convinced you to put Katie in the land. I was like, you just
yes,
absolutely.
I mean, I haven't pulled for honestly any of these units yet, so I probably won't, honestly. Again, I'm still on the save train, like so many of us are, because there is CYL upcoming. But yeah, like we have been getting some very, very interesting units these past couple of months, to say the least.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they've, I don't know, have they been doing better at designing units? I feel like they have, but like, I say that, but then Duo Leon and like Duo Sator exist, and I'm like, I really don't like those enter mechanics. So maybe I don't want to compliment them, and then they bring that back again. So
I'm fine with Duo Sather. Like I thought that was a fine implementation of it. Duo Leon, I don't. This year I don't like the power spikes. I thought they were a little heavy-handed. Particularly Duo Leon was so frustrating. I mean Emblem Ike, I don't like it, but it's not nearly as bad as Duo Leon.
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem is that they're all my favorite units, so I don't really care. Okay. I think I'd be way like my bias exists and I won't deny it. So.
Yeah, I was about to say like I think the Emblem Ike bias is showing here. But
all the biases.
But yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about bias, we should talk about Ashera because apparently her refine and remix is cracked. Like I've seen screenshots of her like killing Murs and like Amelia. Well, maybe not Amelia's. I haven't seen yet, but like all the tanky units like up front. Is she good, Oblivion?
Yeah, I mean she hits ridiculously hard. Like it's crazy how hard she hits. The thing is, she just gets so much attack off her visible bonuses, and then you run her with like bonus double or 4 or whatever else, and you just get more and more stats. And who knew if you have enough stats, you kill things. It's just like last year we learned with Legendary Rana. So yeah, she can hit really, really hard, and she's an infantry, so she has access to like whatever kind of build you really need, which is nice as well. And if you want to go really crazy, you can even like have rearm Lucina, like give her treachery, right? Like there's a lot of options. So but yeah, I've seen her used in cav lines actually. And she can just nuke things as well there, so which is really weird. I didn't really expect that ever.
Do you run like Celica ring on cav lines or like run with iGreen or something?
I think it was with iGreen.
Okay, I see.
But yeah, like she hits. I really so it's really weird because like when that Fates banner came out that I asked for it to be terrible, right, I was really happy it was bad. But now I'm like, dang, I really wish I had Mozu so I could kill Mozu for Ashera. So if Mozu happens to show up, she might get summoned to get killed. Like that might just happen.
Yeah. Who else has bonus doubler? I can't remember. Is it just
Tamara?
Oh, it's Tamara. Right.
Yeah.
I feel more bad about killing Tamara than Mozu.
Yeah. Like Ashera is really, really good. Unfortunately, did not get the Pathfinder support that I was hoping for. So that was a big oof on my part. I was hoping I could use her instead of Dagger since I don't have Dagger, but that's a rip, I guess. Apparently, there's people that have been using her, but I don't know. I mean, my knot is very, very low invested, so probably not my knot I can't use. Apparently, Summer Ingrid, though, is like really, really strong with, I believe it was like the Omni Snap and everything. I've seen a lot of talk about her as like a support unit in a similar vein to like Anna, but with like different things going for her.
I haven't seen any actual replays of her, but I've heard that, so I have to see for myself. I did see that Anna has that new AoE build with Celica Ring, which is really scary though. That's pretty scary. So definitely, the melee AoE nukes are just horrifying now. Hopefully, people don't pick that up and learn about that.
I've seen folks run like AoE Winter Cordelia with Celica Ring.
I see it. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, people can make anything work, but I'm like, okay, these are people trying to like get some value out of their Cordelias.
But yeah, interesting. I mean, we talked about this, but I actually do think like things are relatively, all things considered, in a pretty good state, honestly. Like when it comes to Summer's duels, I feel like we have like a nice balance, so to speak. Like obviously there are like aspects of it which are definitely like not that great, but all things considered, like I mean, last SDS I had a really, really good time and it was a lot of fun. And I mean, Ether Rates is like Gale Force heaven right now, so obviously I've been having a lot of fun too. Like I don't know, I've been feeling really positive about the game recently, which is interesting after like our discussions from like 2 months ago or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel overall pretty neutral on the game, I'd say. I'm not like down on it, but I'm not like super excited like at the moment. Maybe I will be when CYL. That usually gets me pretty excited for the game. I just really want like something to put my teeth into, right? Like some kind of new game mode. That's what I really want. But you know, I've been having fun just like kind of like destroying Aether Raids and SD. So yeah, it's been good. I mean, playing with your favorite character always makes things more fun, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think new game mode in December is my call.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like December is when like SD first started back in, when was it? 2022, I want to say. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm turning into dust. But yeah. I mean, it will be interesting to see what CYL brings to the table, because I mean, that's always like the high point, right, of the year. That and like the new book. And so, I mean, I guess since this is the last one before the reveal, what are your hopes when it comes for the CYL units? Anything in particular, like, you can mention?
Grima Robin.
That's your hope? Why do you do this to me?
I'm half kidding, right? I'm half kidding because, like, honestly, I don't care that much. Like, whatever Robin happens, that's cool. The funny part, though, was just to see the outrage, because I know people will just, like, Reddit will burn, like, YouTube videos will explode. And so, like, there's some part of, like, evil part of me who's like, that would be kind of funny to watch. I'm just like,
I guess, yeah. In
it's
that
like
case,
with Brave Tiki.
oh boy. I mean, I wanted to respond with like Winter Felix, but like my actual hope is like an actual Brave Robin that has all the things kit that young Robin had, but with grand strategy and like maybe another extra thing like supporting DR piercing or something. And then we'll
crazy. What?
That's like 20 things though.
Yeah, because it's the most broken unit ever to exist. Oh my gosh.
And I
you
think
have to remove
like
things from Duo Robin. Okay.
Yeah,
you have to remove things from Duo Robin and then put new things in. Like,
Brave Robin won't have the dual skill. That's enough of a balancing thing.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
I want a good Alphonse. I really I want them to do well with his art. That's so that we can get an update in the story mode.
Yes.
I mean, we've got like glow up Veronica, and then we've got Alphonse, whose costume was obviously designed 7 years ago. I really want something good for Alphonse.
I feel the same way. Like, I just really want them to update. Like, please let's have a new updated Alphonse. Like, oh my gosh. Like, and make him good, but like, please just. Oh my god.
Making him good is secondary. Just have good art.
Right.
I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If I were to guess, I think that they'll bring back what's his name? Like Kosuke or something like that. The one who did like the main art for all of the Asgard people.
Kosuke.
Kosuke, yeah. Sorry, I don't have the name on the top of my head. But yeah, I think they'll probably bring him back to like design the art, and in that case, like no matter what, it'll probably slap. So yeah, I have confidence.
Kozaki Yusuke, yes. Yeah, I'm hoping for that. And for Felix, I just want a good, I'd like a good Felix, please. Like, personally, I would prefer him not to be a God Sword. Like, I don't need 2 God Sword Felixes. I would love if he was like, my dream is a close counter, like, mage. Like Nurgle, but fast, right? Like, something like that. That'd be cool. He doesn't have to, like, the stealing debuff effect, obviously. He can have his own unique niche. But I'd love to see that kind of, like, cool gameplay where you're kind of like a tank, but you can also nuke things. That'd be fun. Yeah. And for Bernadetta, I don't know what to... I mean, when it comes to Bernadetta,
we talked about
I have
all of the units besides Bernadetta. We're not meeting the allegations here, unfortunately.
I have one dream for Bernadetta, but no one else. No Bernadetta fan would be happy with it. They'd all be mad at me. And that's what I want the effect for. At start of turn, all allies within 2 spaces have their HP reduced to 50%. That's what I want. But that would never happen. Yes.
Yeah.
I want her attack animation to include a house. And that's my dream, because that Winter Bernadetta animation is one of the best.
Yep.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. The player base waits in anticipated breath for this upcoming August. But yeah, this has been the podcast we have been streaming or recording for, I want to say like an hour and 20 minutes-ish right now. So definitely a lot to talk about, which makes sense given what has happened the past month. But again, anticipation's on high for CYL, so let us know down in the comments what your hopes are for this upcoming CYL. What were your favorite additions in FEH for the past month? And yeah, thank you too, as always, for joining me. Always a blast. And yeah, hope to see you all next time. And yeah, hope you all have an amazing rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, guys.